bit. There are no plans for a fire alarm test this evening. Exits are either side of the chamber. Mobile phones are to be switched off or placed on silent. Please note that the meeting is being live streamed and anyone who does not wish to be filmed can listen from the breakout area outside. First of all, we've got public questions. This is the only point in the meeting where members of the public are able to participate in the meeting and ask a question. We have 2 public questions registered this evening. First one is Clive Balching. Mr. Balching, would you like to step forward to the mic?
Good evening, Madam Mayor. Before I continue my question, please allow me to wish you, members and officers here present tonight, the season's greetings. Through you, Madam Mayor, my question to Alison, the leader of the council, is as follows. Alison, I wrote to you on the 15th of December.
Councillor Barnes, would you like to respond?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you, Mr. Balchin, for written notification of your question. It has proven difficult, really, to look to have all your questions I'm crackling. On tonight's agenda because of the nature of council meetings. However, what we will aim to do is respond in full to your questions, your fuller questions, over the next few days. Councillor.
Can I please remind people that only one person should be speaking at once? Please don't shout over people because we can't hear what they're saying. Thank you.
Mr. Balchin has not asked all those questions tonight. He's asked one. We will answer that question. But what I'm trying to say is he's asked a lot of questions about this issue, and we are happy to answer all those questions, and we will send a written note to you over the next few days, if that's all right, Clive. In terms of your question this evening, Councillor Lithgow will respond. Thank you, Adrian.
Madam Mayor, in the spirit of the season, will you allow me a cheeky supplementary to Alison?
If we can allow Councillor Lithgow to answer your first part of your question. And then
Sorry, I'm losing track.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for the question. The concerns that you set out in the email on the 15th of December relate to procurement, the accuracy of financial figures, the strength of the risk assessment, and the opportunity for members to scrutinise proposals. The issues you raise around environmental agency requirements, the dependency on future legislation, potential cost escalation, ground conditions, Homes England covenants, and the stance of Lancashire County Council all already align closely with the formal risk register and narrative in the report. They are not new risks. The financial case for the new facility included the indicative £6.2 million capital cost, the expectation that ancillary fees and contingency will take the total towards £7 million, and the calculation that capital is effectively paid back in under 3 years through revenue savings compared with the more expensive disposal options. Assumptions about the end of existing contracts, future disposal routes, and national food waste collection requirements is considered sufficiently robust to support a decision in principle. On the basis that no bill contract will be entered into until tenders or joint venture costings are obtained and a final fully costed capital envelope, including fees, contingency, borrowing terms and detailed risk mitigations, is scrutinised and approved through the appropriate member and statutory officer processes. I'm really sorry, that's a very long sentence, I hadn't realised. There's also a material timing issue. The combination of Environment Agency expectations on indoor waste handling, the closure of existing landfill arrangements, the statutory requirements for separate food waste collection, and the limited time-bound nature of the interim offer from Lancashire County Council creates significant financial and operational risk if the council simply pauses without a clear decision path. A prolonged deferment would increase the likelihood that Rosendale would have to default to a more expensive direct-to-disposal option, which, as the option appraisal shows, would cost substantially more each year than operating a local transfer station, undermining the council's financial sustainability in the medium term. For those reasons, the view this evening is that it's appropriate to proceed to a vote on the recommendations when we consider the report, rather than defer the item. Alongside that, we'll give certain commitments. Those commitments include providing members with a clearer breakdown of the capital costs, ancillary fees and contingencies before any contract is awarded, setting out the proposed borrowing route, interest assumptions and revenue impact within the council's wider financial strategy, expanding the risk register to cover the points you have raised in more detail, including mitigations and continuing structured discussions with Lancashire County Council and other partners on how this facility can complement rather than conflict with wider waste infrastructure plans. In that way, the council can respond to the urgency of the situation while honouring the need for member oversight at each. The microphone's on, sorry. Okay, I'll try and speak louder, sorry. I can start again if you want, yeah. Can you hear me now?
We are talking to the councillor.
I'm trying to speak into the microphone.
Do you want to change the mic?
I'll try a different one. Is this one better? I can read it out and shout if you want to the microphone.
Councillor Lithgow can come up here and use this one. You can speak. Use that. There you go.
Thank you very much. Right, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, this one's definitely working. I don't know why the others are not working. You want to read the whole lot again?
Please.
Okay. Okay, so basically I started off by thanking for the question and said the concerns that you set out in your email of the 15th of December relate to procurement, the accuracy of financial figures, the assessment and the opportunity for members to scrutinise the proposals. The issues you raise around Environment Agency requirements, the dependency on future legislation, potential cost escalation, ground conditions, Home England covenants and the stance of Lancashire County Council all already align closely with the formal risk register and the narrative in the report. They are not new risks. The financial case for the new facility, including the indicative £6.2 million capital cost, the expectation that ancillary fees and contingency will take the total to £7 million, and the calculation I apologise for the technical problems. Right, it's back on again for the moment. There is also a timing issue. The combination of Environment Agency expectations on indoor waste handling, the closure of existing. I'll just shout, should I? The combination of Environment Agency expectations on indoor waste handling, the closure of existing landfill arrangements, the statutory requirements for a separate food waste collection, and the limited time-bound nature of the interim offer from Lancashire County Council creates significant financial and operational risk if the council simply pauses without a clear decision path. A prolonged deferment would increase the likelihood that Rosendale would have to default to more expensive direct-to-disposal options, which, as the options appraisal shows, would cost substantially more each year, undermining the council's financial sustainability in the medium term. For those reasons, this evening it is appropriate to proceed to a vote on the recommendations when we consider the report, rather than defer the item, with certain commitments. Those commitments include providing members with a clearer breakdown of the capital costs, ancillary fees and contingencies before any contract is awarded, setting out the proposed borrowing route, interest assumptions and revenue impact within the council's wider financial strategy, expanding the written risk register to cover the points you've raised in more detail, including mitigations, and continuing structured discussions with Lancashire County Council and other partners on how this facility can complement rather than conflict with wider waste infrastructure plans. In that way, the council can respond to the urgency of the situation while honouring the need for member oversight at each subsequent stage. I apologise for the microphone, which is still not quite right.
Thank you, Councillor Lithgow. No, I'm sorry, there's no supplementary for public. No. I'm sorry, but the public question time, it's just the initial question, not supplement. Sorry?
Over 50 members of the public here, and the democracy has been stilted by you not being willing to answer one further supplementary question.
Madam Mayor, on a point of order, can I refer County Councillor Belchin to Rossendale Borough Council's constitution, where it clearly states that members of the public may ask one submitted question. Thank you.
Councillor Belchin, can I just ask you, we're having one meeting here, thank you.
Thank you. I will now retire, and I look forward to listening to a very robust debate.
Thank you. Can I ask Peter Flanagan to come forward with his question? Thank you.
Good evening. Can you hear me? I've had my business for 20 years in Rosendale now, so my vehicles are here. I previously inquired about leasing or purchasing land on Future Park, which has been going on for this time, to run my local business from. I was told explicitly that you did not want HGVs or truck movements on the site, but a waste transfer site cannot run without them. So on the basis of this decision, I feel we've now set a precedence on the future remaining plot. Could that not be an option to look at to move my business to now, seeing as that precedence has been set? I'd like an honest answer off that, really, but as a group decision, because in the past it seems to be only one person makes decisions for the local Labour Council.
Councillor Barnes, would you like to respond?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I am going to attempt to respond from here, but hopefully people can hear me. Thank you for your question, written notification of your question, Mr. Flanagan. I remember conversations with you going back a very long time. And if I remember rightly, the initial inquiry came through your ward councillor, Jackie Oakes, at the time. And I think the proposal was that you did park your lorries on one of the plots at Futures Park. I picked up the conversation with our then Director of Economic Development, Kath Burns, and I think at the time we were interested in developing Futures Park for businesses like the extension we've seen for orthoplastics, like Bright Futures Nursery, which have since been built out on the site. But things change, and once we decided that we couldn't go forward with our proposals around the waste transfer station at Henrietta Street, we thought, what are we saving Futures Park for? When it's likely that the council will no longer exist in 2 or 3 years' time. So that's why we've put forward a plan to base the new waste transfer station here. So I would suggest you contact our Economic Development Director and have the conversation with him. Okay, Mr. Flanagan?
Thank you, Mr. Flanagan. Thank you, Councillor. Can I now move on to members' questions? Registered this evening. First, we have Councillor Mackenzie Ritson.
This one, yeah, that's better. Thank you, Madam Mayor. Given the long-running controversy surrounding the East Lancashire Empty Home Scheme, can the leader please confirm the total cost to Rossendale Borough Council, including all associated fees, legal costs, officer time, repayments, write-offs, and any other expenditure incurred as a result of Rossendale acting as the accountable body for the programme? Thank you.
Councillor Barnes, are you responding?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you for written notification of your question, Councillor Ritson. This information is already publicly available and contained within the report to Audit and Accounts Committee on the 24th of February 2025. The scheme has undoubtedly, I can never quite say that word, had a difficult history. All issues relating to the scheme have been subject to internal audit, external audit, public reports, confirming that the scheme has been thoroughly aired and issues addressed over the best part of a decade, making this very much historic rather than new or emerging news. And over that decade, the Empty Home Scheme has not simply brought a great many empty properties back into use, it has transformed hundreds of lives. It's provided stability during moments of, excuse me, can I finish answering the question, Madam Mayor?
Can I remind people?
Do you want me to
allow the
finish
person
answering
to
the
speak?
question?
Thank you.
Thank you. Over that decade, the Empty Home Scheme has not simply brought a great many empty properties back into use, it has transformed hundreds of lives. It's provided stability during moments of crisis and helped many people secure a safe, lasting home. Hundreds of long-term empty houses, many in serious disrepair, have been turned into lived-in homes where people rebuild their lives in safety and dignity. Come to the Mayor's Fund, Annie. Well, one powerful existence is the mother and her children who could not initially be housed in Rossendale, and the family were placed in temporary accommodation that didn't meet their needs. Repeated moves between private rentals and temporary housing combined the impact of a past criminal record and no guarantor left them facing constant instability. Through the Empty Home Scheme, they were offered one of the properties that stayed there for several years, down roots, community, and developing the skills and competence.
Sorry, Alison.
The information is publicly available. During that time, there has been no further reoffending, and in the end, they achieved what had once been felt impossible: securing, sorry, thanks Alan, I'm not sure this will work either, securing a tenancy with the same landlord, delivering savings on temporary accommodation, and more importantly, turning an empty home into a genuine new beginning. This programme did not begin without challenges and has been subject to intense public scrutiny over the years. It is equally important to recognise how far the programme has come and to share some of the success stories. And I'm sure that members of the team involved with this would be happy to do just that if Councillor Ritson wants to sit down with them to discuss it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Barnes. Councillor Ritson, do you have a supplementary question?
I do, yes, thank you. It's good to hear that there were some good outcomes. If you got it right. For the benefit of the public, I'm aware there's public records out there, but they're not well published. Clive Thomason was the director of the company awarded the contract for the empty home scheme. Can the leader confirm whether Mr. Thomason has worked for Rossendale Borough Council in any capacity, whether temporary, such as covering sickness, or permanent outside of his involvement with the empty homes contract during the time of the contract? And what final chance to the first question as well.
Councillor Barnes.
Thank you. That's not the supplementary question I was expecting. I've not got the answer to that, I'm afraid. Thank you.
Thank you. Unless you submit the question, we can't get the information ready, can we?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor. It is in a report out there that's hidden in reports, so Councillor Barnes is well aware of the answer to that question. Thank you.
Next question, Councillor Judith Driver, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Over the past few months, the 12 months, I've been working and supporting with one of our members, one of our officers, should I say, Natalie Atkinson, from the communities team, looking at ways to engage with women and girls within the valley. Could the lead member for Communities, Housing and Leisure highlight work that's been taken place for the benefit of the members in the council chamber, all regarding the netball initiatives, please? And I do appreciate, obviously, I hadn't realised when I'd submitted my question, the lead member wouldn't be here, and I think Councillor Barnes is going to take that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Driver. Councillor Barnes, are you okay to take that?
I am. I'm just very conscious of the microphone situation. Thank you for written notification of your question, Judith. And yes, Liz is not with us tonight, so I'll pick this up. Work over the past year has started to build a clear network pathway for women and girls in the valley, which is great news. Directly supporting the council's physical activity and sports strategy 25 to 2030. Practical examples include new girls netball sessions, and that's aged 10 to 16-year-olds at the Adrenaline Centre in Haslingden, where more than 50 girls are now registered and around 30 of them are playing regularly. With the ambition to form a junior club in 2026 to enter a local league. Alongside this, 4 local volunteers have been recruited and are progressing to England netball level 1 coaching and back to netball sessions at the Valley Academy and other community venues which are providing a friendly social netball sessions for adult women who are returning to or trying to return to sport for the first time. Thank you, Judith.
Thank you, Councillor Barnes. Councillor Driver, do you have a supplementary question?
It's not quite supplementary, but it is just a few points, if I could, on the netball. Just think it's such a good sport. It's fabulous for the girls and of the valley, and I think it should be something that we praise, really. So, if I could, Madam Mayor. Just want to say really a massive thank you to Atkinson and the volunteers that have stepped up to act as coaches for primary children up to 11, and then for 11 to 16-year-olds. As we've just heard, the volunteers will be attending the level 1 course in their own time, 2026, and they will be fully trained then coaches. And it's just wonderful that we've got about 50 girls now signed up. I spoke to the parents, been down a few times, and I've spoken to parents. They're absolutely thrilled with what's actually happening at that side of the valley. A further piece of research has identified that girls wanted to play netball and were keen to see clubs launched throughout the valley. So that's going to be the next piece of work that we look at. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Driver. Councillor Christine Gill.
Madam Mayor, could the leader or lead member for the environment outline the current arrangements for street sweeping across the borough, particularly with reference to how frequently streets are cleaned, especially during the autumn leaf fall period? It would be helpful for all members to have clarity, given the statement on social media from Councillor Ritson claiming that they never get them in Whitworth, and why is this? Thank you.
Councillor Barnes, you wish to respond?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you for written notification of your question, Christine. Adrian will respond.
I'll give this a go. Working. Street sweeping is quite a challenge, obviously. The adopted highway network in Rosendale has approximately 284 kilometres of adopted roads and 362 kilometres of adopted footpaths. The council aim to sweep the main roads every 2 weeks and other adopted roads every 9 or 10 weeks. To do this, we have one road sweeper and two footpath sweepers to deal with the routes. In the lead up to Remembrance Day, the normal routes are suspended so the team can focus on the parade routes. Following Remembrance Day, the team move on to dedicated leaf routes in the run up to Christmas. The dedicated leaf routes can take approximately 3 weeks to the initial sweep of Rosendale. You appreciate that Rosendale has many sections of roads lined with trees. During this period, we supplement existing resources by hiring an additional road sweeper. If there are any concerns, any areas of concern, councillors can highlight them via the Democratic Services with operation team. So if people have concerns, please let us know and we'll do to look into that. But we do treat all areas equally, and it's just the resources we have and the manpower we have to operate those vehicles. But any concerns, please let us know.
Thank you, Councillor Escott. Councillor Gill, do you have a supplementary?
I don't, Madam Mayor, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Samara Barnes, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just have to apologise for my voice, I'm a little bit squeaky. Does the leader share concerns that the plight of older people requiring advancing social care is being put at risk by Lancashire County Council's ongoing discussions on the closure of the care homes? Appreciating that the care homes at in Rosendale will put additional pressure on available services at the risk of impacting our residents, and we do have families that have been affected by this who live in Rosendale.
Thank you. Councillor Barnes, do you wish to respond?
Thank you. Thank you for written notification of your question, Samara. Yes, I share the concern that Lancashire County Council's proposals to close its care homes could put vulnerable older people.
Can I ask you please to be quiet and allow members to speak? There should only be one person speaking. Can you just, Mr. Bolton, would you please be quiet and allow the leader to respond to the question? But can you just be quiet? Otherwise I'll have to
Interjects again. Can I suggest that we suspend the meeting and have him removed?
If this continues, we will be suspending the meeting. Please, can you allow the leader to respond to the question?
And I am struck by the double standard here. It's all right for other people to go around saying what they like about this council and what it's doing, but not all right for us to have our own views about what the county's doing.
Point of personal explanation, please. Point of personal explanation.
No, I'm sorry.
I think it's the double standard. That's my point. Yes, I share those concerns that the County Council's proposal to close care homes and put vulnerable people at risk, particularly those needing higher levels of support. I'm especially concerned that removing county-run beds, even where the homes are not in Rossendale, will reduce overall capacity, increase pressure on an already fragile care market, and make it harder to find suitable, affordable replacements close to families. I therefore believe any decisions must be based on a clear assessment of need and full consideration of the knock-on impact on Rossendale residents, local health and community services. I do welcome yesterday's announcement. I saw it via a letter to staff to say that they were pausing their review of this particular decision. But I would also say that that has its own issues and difficulties in terms of uncertainty. Many of the people in these care homes are very, very elderly people, and to have this hanging over them that the county may close the care homes, it may not, but it may close the care homes, I think is a problem, and they really do need to come to some conclusions sooner rather than later on whether they are going to suspend this work or not.
Thank you, Councillor Barnes. Councillor Smarabans, you have a supplementary?
Yeah, thank you. Just before I go through my question, I just want to say tonight we're actually bringing about a motion on hate, not hate. That's after the waste transfer paper, and I really welcome the members to stay for that, because I think it'd be really important to hear about how we should be conducting ourselves in these sorts of meetings. Also, the councillors at Lancashire County Council should be involved in that, as two seniors also being taken to the political working group by their leader, Stephen Atkinson. So the supplementary question is that whilst I am pleased that Lancashire County Council are choosing to extend the review so they can fully digest the services they received, more new surveys,
Yes, it's an issue, I think, when you consider that the framework, local government framework in Lancashire is due to change. And if this goes ahead, if these care homes are closed, then the provision will not be there for future councils to use. And we've seen it very dramatically in terms of the cost of provision for children. How that's spiralled, how hedge funds have benefited financially from those spiralling costs, how you and me are paying those costs, and the people sat at the back of this chamber. And my worry is that we're going to be facing the exact same problem if this provision is taken out of Lancashire, and those councils, it's the same point that is being made about that waste transfer station, that actually it has a broader impact further down the line. So I do think people need to think really long and hard about this and whether it's the right thing to do. Thank you for your question.
Thank you, Councillor Barnes. Councillor Anne Kenyon.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Rossendale as the Waste Collection Authority collects many different waste streams. Can the leader or lead member please expand on all the different types of waste we are required to collect?
Thank you, Councillor Kenyon. Councillor Barnes.
Thank you, and thank you for the clarification of your question. And Adrian will respond.
Right, thank you, Anne, for the question. I hope this is working again. There's quite a lot of misunderstanding about the types of waste that Rosendale collects. And some people seem to think it's just basically the residual waste that's put into the bins that we do take. But we are responsible for collecting residual waste, glass cans and plastics, paper and card, street bins, including the leaves, which just talked about, public litter bin waste, fly tipping waste, garden waste, POPs, which I looked up, and is persistent organic pollutants, that's mattresses and stuff like that, white goods and electrical items, and from the 1st of April 2026 will also be required to collect food waste. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Scott. Councillor Kenny, do you have a supplementary?
Recycling waste and paper cardboard waste is currently taken to Henrietta Street to be put up. Can we, member, please expand on the forthcoming processing changes nationally on this type of waste, which is currently processed? Thank you.
Councillor Lithgow, are you going to respond?
Yeah, thank you for the question. Yeah, I think recycling waste and cardboard does take place at Henrietta Street at the moment to be bulked up. Now, with the reforms that are coming, we're going to face even more challenges when we have to start dealing with food waste as well. But those challenges are compounded by the changes proposed by the government to the waste exemption system, detailed in the reform of the waste exemption systems policy paper published on the 15th of July 2025 by central government. The current Henrietta Street holds an Environment Agency permit, which is CP 3692CH, people are interested. It also has 2 exemption registrations, which are for detailed WEX 368731 and WEX 363834. If these are withdrawn as proposed in the suggested legislation, we will be able to continue accepting glass cans and plastic and paper and cards and POPs. That's because we would have to have them in sealed containers, so that would require some work to be done at Henrietta Street in order to do that. Once the exemptions are withdrawn, we'll need to apply for a full new permit, and that then would require these secure conditions, essentially meaning that Henrietta Street would need to be substantially redeveloped in order to take those items. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Lithgow. That concludes question time. We'll now commence the council meeting business. Item A1 is apologies for absence. I've had apologies from Councillor Danielle Ashworth, Tom Belli, Greg Bleakley, Nick Harris, Simon Holland, Liz McInnes and Scott Smith. Are there any other apologies? Oh, yeah, and sorry, Councillor Neil Looker. Are there any other apologies? No. Thank you. Item A2 is minutes of the meetings held on the 16th of July 2025 and the 26th of November 2025. Could I have a mover for those minutes, please?
I'll move them, Madam Mayor.
And a seconder?
I'll second those minutes, Madam Mayor.
Okay. We'll move to the vote. Those in favour? Any against? Any abstentions? Okay, that is carried. Thank you. Item A3, are there any declarations of interest? Councillor Ritson.
Just because it's waste, I just want to clarify the back to council.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Byrne.
Yeah, I'll do the same.
Thank you. Okay. A4, there are urgent item business. There are no urgent items of business. Item B is communications. I have no communications. Does the head of paid service have any communications?
I just want November, Councillor Judith Driver replaced Councillor Bleakley as Chair of Audit and Accounts, and the amended committee membership was uploaded to the website.
Thank you. Does the leader of the council have any communications?
I do, Madam Mayor. I would like to give thanks to Tom Aldred and acknowledge his dedication and service over the years as a Whitworth Town Councillor and Rossendale Borough Councillor. Tom has been past Mayor of Whitworth, Honorary Townsman of Whitworth, past Mayor of Rosendale, and is also an honorary alderman. Tom decided to stand down from Whitworth Town Council in September this year, having provided 50 years service to the people and communities of Whitworth. This is a significant achievement which shouldn't go unrecognised, and I would like to place on record our sincere thanks to Tom for his outstanding dedication and service. And if you're happy, the Mayor, I would ask that you write to him and say that. Okay, thank you. I'd also like to give mention to Councillor Alan Neil and congratulate him on his appointment as President of the Lancashire Association of Local Councils. I'm sure he'll do an excellent job supporting parish and town councils across the county. Also got some updates from the communities team. Communities team in the borough is two part-timers really, although they have been joined by Natalie more recently. And they do a tremendous amount of work to support particularly our more vulnerable residents in the community. So some of the things that they've been involved with over the last few months, £1 million has been secured through the Football Foundation for a new 3G football pitch, turf pitch to be located at the Adrenaline Centre in Haslingden. Today, 170 people have attended Park Yoga at Whitaker Park, which launched in May last year. I keep meaning to go along myself. Perhaps I won't till stop raining. There's a new junior park run, which was launched in October at Moorlands Park, with 240 children and young people running to date. 7 food banks across Rosendale have been supported with much needed resources, and that's been an ongoing level of support since COVID. 19 sport, physical activity and health and wellbeing groups were supported with grants from Together and an Active Future funding, which we accessed through a regional fund. A new netball project has been launched, as discussed earlier. The 2025 Tour de Manche took place with 1,200 riders travelling through Rosendale, enabling us to secure the event again in 2026. Over 40 community organisations have been funded through the Community Partnership Small Grants scheme, and the Low Income Family Tracker was launched. The first campaign, called No One Is Left Behind, took place in October 2025. 600 families have been given financial support through the Household Support Fund, and that team administer those grants. And the second Rosendale Pride event took place at Whitaker Park, again in the summer when the weather was a little bit more clement. So just a flavour of some of the things that the community teams have been involved. Community team has been involved in the last few months. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Barnes. They definitely work hard, that team, considering there's only two part-timers, don't they? And obviously my congratulations to Tom Aldred and Councillor Neil. Okay, thank you for that. We'll now move on to the ordinary business of the meeting. Item C1 is a waste transfer station. Do I move for that report? Councillor Lithgow, do I have a seconder?
I will second the report and reserve my right to speak, Madam Mayor.
Councillor Lithgow, do you want to present the report?
Thank you. Is that working? Yeah, excellent. Right, I'm really pleased to have the opportunity to move this report this evening. I would like to thank all the officers and members involved over a very long period of time to bring us to this point. Just some quick general points about this. The new waste transfer, as it's proposed, will allow us to vacate the Henrietta Street, provide an opportunity for redevelopment and address the concerns that immediate residents currently have, and I think will be exacerbated when it comes to collecting food waste. It will provide a purpose-built high-tech unit that will meet all requirements as legislation on waste collection evolves, including the requirements, as I mentioned, to collect food waste from spring 2026. It will provide for the retention of a large number of jobs within Rosendale. It will save huge amounts of money in terms of staffing costs and the unnecessary purchase and maintenance of new vehicles and the cost of fuel to run all of these vehicles to the other side of Lancashire or even to a short distance, the cost would still be extremely high. It will be far more environmentally appropriate given our ongoing commitment to combat climate change. It will align us with other East Lancs authorities who are currently making arrangements to sort out their own waste transfer systems. The recommendations held within the report are for RBC to proceed with the redevelopment of Block 4 on Futures Park and construct a new waste transfer station, and for RBC to enter into an agreement with Calmet to project manage the build process via a compliant procurement process. It also delegates appropriate authorities. In terms of a current brief context, our current arrangements are not tenable post April 2026 due to changes in the waste exemption systems as outlined in the POD report. Using other bulking up facilities at Fountain or elsewhere in East Lancashire are not financially sustainable. Indicative figures are given in the report about the huge costs that were involved in doing this, even if it's to an East Lancashire base. There will be considerable local opposition to taking food waste. Sorry, I'll try and shout a little bit louder. Considerable local opposition to taking food waste as well as the current waste streams to Henrietta Street for bulking. This is in addition to the extra considerable costs. RBC owns the Futures Park site and the realistic proposal planning permission is tabled in this report. There's an urgency to this matter to avoid unnecessary additional costs. It is projected that a waste transfer station at Futures Park will deliver a revenue saving of around £1.2 million over the current arrangement. There will be an additional cost to the council of £2 million to use Farrington and £0.5 million to use an East Lancashire site. So for LGR, a bulking up waste transfer station in Rosendale will always make financial and environmental sense. LCC have offered a temporary solution to the problem for processing residual waste as they decided to end the contract at Winnie Hill. So it's just for residual waste. This would be for 2 years with a possible extension, but it does not work for us as it only covers residual waste and not the other waste streams. And by April 2028, all residual waste will have to go to Farrington in order to undertake moisture loss prior to it being incinerated. This would still leave the challenge of food waste and not address the issue of Environment Agency regulation changes relating us to store the other waste streams inside. A possible consequence would be that all waste streams would need taken to Farrington at huge cost to Rosendale. I've seen on social media that this is a very expensive shed. As you can see in the report, this is a very sophisticated shed with a high-tech odour control system, wastewater management system, automatic doors and a sophisticated fire suppression system. It will also house a modern workshop facility to maintain the council's vehicle fleet and green spaces machinery. Some green spaces equipment will also be stored overnight. I would hope that we could all support this tonight as the best option for waste management in Rosendale for the foreseeable future, as well as being the most financially sensible way forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Scott. Do any members wish to comment?
Madam Mayor, before we start the debate, can I call for a propose a named vote, please, before we start the debate, and I reserve the right to speak. Thank you.
We need two more.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to second this report and reserve my right to speak. Thank you.
Is that?
Madam
We
Mayor,
need three councillors for a name to vote for
we
name.
normally have a name vote once the item's been discussed, not before.
It doesn't.
Right. It can be called at any point of the meeting. Do we? So Councillor Ritson, Councillor Eaton, have you? Yeah. Does anybody else wish for a named vote? Pardon?
The two on the table.
Yeah, I will support that.
Okay, thank you. Right, Councillor Woods, would you like to speak?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I speak on behalf of the Conservative Group to set out why we will not be supporting the recommendations before us. Project mid other occasions, as were others through the Operations Improvement Board, which I was very grateful to be invited onto. Okay. Right. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Right, I'll try again. If it doesn't work, I'll move to the back or something. Do you want me to start again? Right. Thank you, Madam Mayor. I speak on behalf of the Conservative Group to set out why we will not be supporting the recommendations before us. I was briefed on the project in mid-2024, as were others, through the Operations Improvement Board and on a number of occasions since. At that time, it was presented as a sound and proportionate response to the anticipated regulatory change. I agreed with Councillor Adrian Lithgow then, and still do, that this is not a political issue. In technical, engineering and planning terms, the proposal is sound and it does have merit, and I acknowledge the considerable amount of professional work that's gone into it. However, the context in which we are now being asked to make a decision is materially different. Since those early discussions, the cost of the project has increased significantly, and the scheme no longer includes the previously and incorrectly anticipated £3 million contribution from Lancashire County Council. This fundamentally alters the financial balance of the proposal, in my view, and increases the level of risk carried by this council. It is a fact that this authority remains well below its borrowing ceiling, thus allowing the proposed funding. I don't know whether the Empty Homes programme and its ultimate cost to taxpayers of circa £11 million in this administration, but this the way it's funded demonstrates that where there is a it also demonstrates that investment in other projects such as new swimming pools and leisure facilities could have been achieved, and that it was ultimately a political choice not to do so. In our view, there are still too many unknowns and uncertainty, and a reduced confidence in the strategic aspects of the proposal in the light of local government reorganisation. For these reasons, Madam Mayor, we will be opposing the recommendation before us. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Woods. Councillor Ritson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and yeah, I just echo everything Councillor Woods has just said. I just want, as I go through this, if you've got the agenda in front, the report in front of you, councillors, if you can try and follow me as I pointed out, because there's some really, really important points here. Tonight, we're being asked to sign off a very large spend, but with very little certainty. The report before us asks Council to move forward with a new waste transfer site at Futures Park, with an estimated capital cost of 6.2 million plus ancillary costs. The phrase plus ancillary costs matters. Page 2 of the report confirms we only budgeted 6 million. We are already £200,000 over budget, and a shovel hasn't even gone in the ground. There's open-ended costs and missing numbers. The report states the capital is currently in the region of 6.2 million plus ancillary. There is no breakdown of these ancillary costs. Legal, project management, design and specialist kit, only that they are yet unevaluated. We are being asked to approve a blank cheque. There's no cap on what we're approving tonight. No upper bound and no evidence of what the actual final cost will be. We've all lived through the consequences of inadequate oversight. The Empty Homes scheme taught us exactly what happens when members approve open-ended expenditure without robust governance and clarity, and that's in your own reports. This report repeats the same pattern. Unconfirmed extra fees, incorrect or unproven cost analysis, no revenue costed, and multiple unresolved risks. The LCC offer and local government reorganisation uncertainty. Page 3 says, all residual waste will need to be transported to Farrington by 2028 to meet the UK changes on incineration. But with LGR on the way, governance and disposal arrangements could change. The paper itself concedes that LGR management will change, but then assures us the day-to-day is unlikely to change significantly. That's an assertion, not evidence. If LCC does not collect waste from Rosendale and instructs us to take waste directly to Farrington or other sites, RBC will have to transport the waste there regardless, with or without the waste transfer site. That undermines the financial case for building a new transfer station now. Fixing the Henrietta Street issues twice. Page 3 also states that accepting LCC's offer still leaves the challenge of food waste and does not address the EA regulatory changes at Henrietta Street. Those EA compliance changes must be addressed regardless of this build, and there is a timing gap. Food waste must be separately collected from April 2026, while the new waste transfer hopes to be operational by the end of 2026, when previously options did be 2027, early 27. So we end up fixing the compliance at Henrietta Street and then building the waste transfer site. This site does not recommend having to deal with Henrietta Street. The cost assessment table has fundamental problems. In the annual cost table, it's presented at the basis of a 1.2 million annual saving for the new Bacup waste transfer site. But officers have confirmed tipping away fees are not included in these figures. Yet those payments LCC would make to Rosendale when directing us to tip externally would reduce the travel costs significantly. The current column includes a figure for food waste, but the report itself states food waste collection doesn't start until April 2026. So why is there a current cost for a service we don't provide? That is either a wild assumption or an error that must be corrected before we make any decision. Most importantly, the headline saving is asserted while the revenue cost of a running new waste transfer site is unknown. This afternoon, the lead officer confirmed we do not know the running costs of this waste transfer site. Yet the report claims a £1.2 million saving. You can't claim a saving without knowing the operating cost. On that basis, there is no evidence here that a new waste transfer site is the cheapest option. In fact, when you add the missing costs, it starts to look unlikely it will deliver any savings at all and may lose money. Transport risks, 4 HGVs daily with no costed plan. If LCC don't collect from the new waste transfer site, officers have confirmed that Rosendale would even need to buy, lease or contract 4 HGVs daily to move waste. On market averages, Asset Alliance and Return Loads benchmarks roughly £168,000 per vehicle over 5 years. That's 1.5 million extra. We've not even reported it. But it's not anywhere in the report. That to the capital already over the budget and the ancillary costs uncosted. Unknown revenue.
Yeah, clarification. And Councillor Escott.
Thank you. That's why LCC wouldn't collect or won't collect.
My Rosendale Council's hat on, but I don't mind going into that if the mayor allows.
Please explain why you wouldn't collect the East Lancashire.
Yes, when LCC are looking at a proposal, just like you have in front of you, you're saying there's cost-effective cuts. You've got to look at the cost of doing that from every borough as well. There's multiple boroughs in every single matter waste transfer site. We're sending, I think we're saying 5 HGVs a day with, say, 5,000 years. Sending 5 trucks over to East Lancashire to pick everyone's waste up. It costs a lot of money.
Why just Rosendale? That's the question.
Rosendale are the furthest down the line for the proposal at this stage, where the others haven't reached that yet. I'm reviewing the waste.
Can members of the public please be quiet and allow Councillor Lithgow to answer?
As pointed out, Rosendale is.
Sorry, Councillor Lithgow. Mr. Bolton, can you stop filming, please? The meeting is being filmed. Well, yeah. Can you put your phone away, please?
Right, as pointed out, Rosendale is the most isolated flank. Sorry, Rosendale is.
Sorry, Adrian, I don't want to cut you off. I'll still get my time. I don't want you to be going to time. Thank you.
So just for clarification, I mean, Rosendale is the most remote of the boroughs in terms of collection. It's based in Preston. And therefore, it is an argument for the waste transfer station, not against it, because it's always going to be needed. It's always going to be the furthest to take stuff. Thank you.
I'll respond on that point from Adrian. Can I respond to the time as a question? No? Okay, I'll leave it then. Just so everyone's
Councillor
aware.
Ritson, you've got about 4.5 minutes left.
Right, okay, I'll just carry on. So they would have to buy the HGVs, added to that capital budget, ancillary fees uncosted and unknown revenue. There's supposed £1.2 million saving just for that risk. Procurement and delivery risk. Go to section 4.1. It says either engage brownfield investment properties under the existing joint venture or conduct a tender exercise. Which is it? Tonight, we're being asked to approve without clarity on a route to the market. That affects price, timetable. Sorry.
Councillor Bolton, you were asked to stop filming. If you continue, I will have to ask you to leave the room. I'm sorry, can you just be quiet, please, and we'll allow Councillor Ritson to carry on. Thank you. Can everybody just be quiet and let him speak?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Section 4.1 says either engage brownfield investment properties under the existing joint venture or conduct a tender exercise. We're approving this, but which is it? We're approving both. Tonight, we're being asked to approve without the clarity on the route to the market. That affects the price, the timetable, and the risk. The timetable has shifted. The report hopes to be operational by end of 26, whereas previously it was early 27. Add the risk from the report itself. It lists unexpected ground conditions, EA permit issues, Homes England covenants, build budget exceeding, the LCC refusal to collect. There is a realistic scenario that this doesn't happen until the 2027 elections, and we will have burned through capital fees without delivering the savings promised. Site-specific claims need evidence. Vehicle storage says refuse vehicles will be stored overnight at the old LCC Highways depot. LCC is still there. There's no timeline for that availability and no risk mitigation if that falls through. Also goes on for carbon reduction. It claims the new facility will reduce carbon emissions. Yet we're going to create additional HGV movements if LCC instructs direct haulage to another site. No emissions evidence is provided. It says orders will be kept to a minimum using filtration. Previously, members were told there will be no order. Which is it? Where is the order modelling and performance guarantee? The report's own risk section says proceed with caution. Page 6 lists serious risks, including budget exceeding LCC for refusal to collect from the new station. Given these risks, open-ended spend with missing cost would be irresponsible. The test we should apply is, are all costs identified and capped? No. Is the revenue model known and evidenced? No. Are all LGR impacts and LCC roles settled? No. Are procurement, site access and permit certain? No. Does the cost table include all relevant fees and exclude non-existent services? No. Residents expect prudence, evidence and value for money. This proposal offers none of that. We need to vote against this tonight, and if the officers wish, return it, but with fully costed, capped and evidence plan before any approval can be considered. We need to protect these people's money, maintain statutory collection and ensure members have the facts before authorising a multi-million pound spend. Colleagues, don't let the residents down. The report is not ready, and that's honest. The numbers are incomplete and the assumptions are untested, and the risks are material. We've got to vote against this item tonight. Thank you very much.
Councillor Eaton, did you wish to speak?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. If this site, this waste transfer station goes ahead opposite Futures Park, my concerns are: one, the smell from vehicles waiting to enter and leaving the unit. Two, for the people who live close by, just a few to mention: Lee Road, Newchurch Road, Rochdale Road, also the people who go to the park. Also, not forgetting all the children who come down to the nursery where the vehicles will be passing daily. There's grave concerns for those. On a sunny day outside when the children are playing, what about the fumes? What when the vehicles are going past? Maybe 6, 8-wheeler vehicles. That is a really concern. 3, what about the wagons are leaving the site? Are they still going to smell from the coming out from the stores up in the top there? What about the food waste that is going to be collected from our doorsteps? Is this going to attract mice, rats, etc.? Finally, can I say to all members, would you want this waste transfer station outside your property? I will not be supporting this in front of us this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Eaton. Does anyone, other members wish to speak? Councillor Buck.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. On behalf of the Green Party Group, I would like to say that there is a clear need for a facility such as this within Rossendale. And the outline shows that this will save money, it will reduce vehicle movements, and it will allow a large proportion of our waste to be recycled.
Thank you. Councillor Walmsley.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd just like to talk very briefly around some of the financial impacts on this borough without an in-borough waste transfer facility. The costs of this borough transporting all our waste, which was highlighted in the questions earlier on this evening, to Farrington as a cost to this borough, is estimated to be in the region of £2 million of our revenue budget. I'll put that in context. That is approximately 23% of the council tax that is retained by Rossendale, paid by members of the public. That is a significant cost to this borough that was highlighted in the medium-term financial strategy reports that are in the public domain. The concern around that is to spend £2 million, not 1 year, every year. Not between now and the end of Rossendale Borough Council, but effectively, indefinitely. The spend associated with an in-borough waste transfer station is in the region of £6 to £7 million. £2 million per annum effectively gives a payback in 3 and a bit years. Without an in-borough waste transfer facility, a state-of-the-art in-borough waste transfer facility that mitigates the significant challenges of Henrietta Street in terms of the residents' concerns, it meets the legislative changes in connection with forthcoming requirements to collect waste inside. The £2 million is effectively our need for additional fleet, additional man hours, additional fuel and additional travel time across to Farrington. That has to be inefficient in taking effectively smaller vehicles.
Point of order, Madam Mayor. I'd just like to remind the Deputy Leader, he's talking about Farrington, but LCC, as stated in your report, has procured a new contract, which is actually the first column, delivery of all waste within 30-mile round trip. That's a £500,000 cost to the difference and only a 1.6 million cost to the new transfer site. And to remind, they do not include tipping away fees.
Point of order, Madam Mayor. They have not procured a new contract. As far as I understand it, the site in Hapton doesn't have a licence, doesn't have planning permission, and can't do this work. And the other valid point to make is if we are trooping over to Hapton, if at the end of the day they do get a planning permission, they do get a permit, then it will still cost us valuable time where our wagons are trooping over to the other side of East Lancashire instead of driving around Rossendale.
Councillor Walmsley, can you continue? Okay, sorry.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. There would be costs associated with changes needed at Henrietta Street in connection with the significant challenge that residents see at the moment with waste being processed outside, the cardboard waste, the recycling waste being processed outside, and the innumerable challenges that brings in the inclement weather and the requirements to actually do that inside in the future. We've had some discussions in connection with vehicles. I would just like to point out vehicles go up New Church Road on the side of the nursery, and there were no objections from nursery in terms of the planning application that was taken by this council. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Walmsley. Councillor Neil, I'm sorry, I believe you had your hand up. I didn't see you.
It's fine, Madam Mayor. Things comes to the way. Can you hear me at the back? No. You need to go to Spec Service and get some new batteries for your hearing aid. I'm not a nice person.
Point of order. Alan Neil is seconding the debate not hate motion next. So I think he needs to think about very carefully his language with residents.
There's nothing hateful about the comment. Madam Mayor, we've heard talk about HDVs. Ormerods have a very large factory with HDVs trundling up and down New Church Road, trundling up and down New Line. Buses go past on a daily basis every 20 minutes. There are lots and lots. There are lots and lots of
Remind members
vehicles.
of the public to be quiet and allow the member to speak. Thank you.
There are lots and lots of vehicles on New Church Road. I'm very surprised that people have
Alan, please just put your microphone back on. It seems to have popped off. Thank you.
Sorry. I'm very surprised that residents are concerned about waste being transferred to Farrington or building a waste transfer station in Rossendale. Perhaps they'd be more concerned if their waste was delivered every 6 weeks, given that it's going to take in excess of 2 hours on a daily basis. All the way to Farrington. There is an increase in cost, but you know, thank you. I find it bizarre that the county council or the county councillors are making comments when you consider that they've just increased their members' allowance from £32,000 per annum to £44,000 per annum.
Point of order. Can you remove that comment? That's factually not correct.
That's the information that I've been given. But getting back to the matter of waste, The bottom line is, Madam Mayor, that we seem to be forgetting that we're talking about members of staff that have actually to go through other people's waste and work in a facility that's from the last century. We really do need to bring things into the 21st century and actually look at working conditions for staff. We wouldn't have a problem with that. It's a clear case, you know, people have got to have a conscience about this. I actually think that we need to be looking after residents and also members of staff that actually have to pick stuff up on a weekly basis and go through it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Neil. Councillor Cheetham, did you wish to speak?
Understand all the figures, all the connotations, the planning, the movements of everything. But I do understand my rate bill. I do understand what I am paying for in rates. I am also aware that as we are gathering together, nobody as such has mentioned local government reform. Now, we have supported, as an authority, Pennine Council of the Future. Now, I don't know what Burnley, Blackburn, Hyndburn, what their waste facilities are going out. We know about Hyndburn because Winnie Hill is being closed. But I also think that if you're talking about the future, there has to be some discussion with the neighbouring authorities on how they too are looking to the future of waste disposal, whatever type it might be. And I'm not familiar with that. But what I don't want is to hear that if we haven't got all our facts correctly, I don't want debt to be thrown back at us by a neighbouring authority who feel that they are superior to us. I can't think which county, which council I would be thinking about that, but we know we have two rival football teams and it works on a similar basis if we go to Pennine, Lancashire. But I just want us just to be mindful of what the neighbouring authorities are doing and to see if we are approaching it in the manner. Nobody has mentioned that aspect, but let's be honest. We know that the future of this authority is vulnerable. And I don't want us to be said, we're spending money without looking at every element and then hoping the new authority will like what we're passing over and start them with, you know, a debt-ridden balance. That's all I want to know. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Cheetham. Councillor Bold.
And see what new technology can do for waste. Everybody here, councillors and member of public, go and have a look for yourself. There's a visitor centre and you will see the scale of what they do with our waste. It's incredible. It's a beautiful thing. It really is. They're recycling huge amounts of them. That was the whole building. And Burnley and some of the other authorities already send their waste. They already send their black bin waste and their residual waste every week. And you're talking tons, I mean, it's millions of tons. It's incredible. And they're expanding as well. I also do a new waste transfer station over in Hull, which is the model that we're proposing here tonight. And there is no seagulls flying around Hull and this waste transfer station. There's no rats, there's no mice, there's no smell. Is the technology there to contain all of this? It doesn't matter. I have to speak my truth here. And I'm very passionate about waste, so I'm a Green Councillor. And for the sake of handing on to the new authority something that's working in place and future proof, then we have to do this. We can't not do this. For the sake of 2 million quid here and 3 million quid there, it's going to be given as a quid, whatever it is, but it will be future proof, and that's the important thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Brown. Councillor Barnes.
Sorry, my battery's come. Thank you. An interesting debate. And boiling it all down, I think we've got the choice between. Well, we've got a poor, not fit for purpose waste transfer station already in Rossendale. That's what we've got at Henrietta Street. And I'm not sure whether Councillor Ritson thinks we're going to keep that one open as well as the new one. I've got that.
I'm sorry, no interruption.
That's what I've picked up on as well. But the fact is, we'll be closing down Henrietta Street and opening a new state-of-the-art facility. Now, Adrian's already given the commitment to go through the finances with all members of this council. So we've got that option on the table, that we shut down a really poor facility where waste is being sorted outside. It's blowing it around and it's creating a real nuisance for residents. It's not a nice environment for our teams to work in either. And we've heard tonight that it will not do the things we need it to do as we go forward. So we are proposing that we borrow up to £7 million to put that state-of-the-art facility in place in Rossendale. The alternative...
Point of order.
That is with the...
£7 million is not in the... I'd just like clarification.
That we're talking about with ancillary costs.
Do you know what they are?
I think we're going to go through them point for point with residents. I'm just trying to generalise here and sum up the position we are in, Mackenzie. Just calm down for once and listen. So we have that. We've got a poor facility currently. We're proposing that we close that facility and we open a state-of-the-art facility. The option is we do that, or we drive all our wagons up the M65 to drop the waste at Farrington.
Point of order. Point of order. None.
Councillor Whitson, if you've got a point of order, can you stand up, please?
Yeah, I just want to clear, you've mentioned Farrington, Alison. That is not the final proposal as of yet. So can we stop telling the public one thing when it isn't that? In fact, let's be open and honest.
Point of order, Madam Mayor, that's exactly what we're being asked to do, because this proposal to do something in East Lancashire is not there. An agreement hasn't been signed. They haven't got a facility that's got a planning permission. They haven't got a facility that's got a permit. So as far as we're concerned, we are stuck with driving our waste, so sending all our bin wagons up the M65 every day to drop our waste in Farrington. And that will cost this authority £2 million a year. Now, what I want to know is, what are we going to stop doing as a council in order to pay for that? Are we going to stop providing leisure facilities? Are we going to stop doing work in our parks and green spaces? Are we going to stop doing our regeneration activity? What is it we're going to stop to pay for that? Because that's the situation we're in. If we borrow to build a new facility, we can afford repayments. The new council will take up those repayments. And I mean, so probably Andrew can tell me how much the borrowing cost would be on that amount of money here and now. And it's significantly less than paying 2 million a year to drive our bin wagons up and down the M65. Okay.
I'm sorry. Can the members of the public please be quiet and allow members to speak?
I'll just finish by making one final point. We have looked for an East Lancs site, and there isn't an East Lancs site. And I don't think the County Council thinks there's an East Lancs site, or they certainly didn't when we had the discussions back in 2023.
Point of order, Madam Mayor. I attended a briefing with myself, county officers and Rosendale officers, where we offered to go and advise and see if we could come up with it as a new authority within Lancashire before they went ahead with this. She refused the opportunity.
We have already done the looking before Councillor Ritson was elected.
Sorry, Councillor Ban. It wasn't a point of order, Councillor Ritson.
We've already done the looking. There isn't a site available. And I think we're about to go into reorganisation. In July next year, councils aren't going to be able to make any financial decisions. So I want to know how the county will find a site and acquire a site before then. They're not going to be able to. We've looked, there wasn't one, and just think about it. Think how tough it has been to get to this process here when we're talking about 28 vehicles. If we're looking at a site that will accommodate, what is it? It's probably 140 vehicles coming from all the different councils. How difficult is that going to be to find a site that meets the spec and then get a planning permission on that site? So I think, there's a reason why the districts are looking for their own arrangements on this, and that's because it's the best way of doing this business. The leader of Ribble Valley said to me only last week, my goodness, it's a good job we've got this waste transfer station here. We really couldn't function without it. Burnley are intending to build their own, because what has been found is having a site locally that sorts waste from that district makes the most sense. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Barnes. Do any other members wish to speak? Councillor Walmsley.
I'm aware I've spoken already, Madam Mayor. I'd just like to bring a point of clarification, if I may, with your indulgence. Thank you. The project of building a waste transfer station is clearly a capital project that will be written off over many, many years. The £2 million that is alluded to within the report would be a cost to this authority next year, the year after, and likely costs going forward well into the future.
Point of explanation, please. I'm aware of that, Andrew. My point was you don't know the revenue for this new one, so you can't say that's the saving when you don't know what it's going to cost you yearly.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm not sure that was a point of order either, really. But the clarification.
No, it was a point of personal explanation.
The clarification are additional costs are a consequence of not having a waste transfer station. That is the mechanism that reduces the revenue, the annual costs to this authority by having an in-borough facility funded through capital, funded over many, many years. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Walmsley. Any other members wish to speak? Councillor Driver.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. It's just really to echo what Bob has said, really, with regards to several of us went over to the whole site several months ago. A very busy site, much, much bigger than the one we are planning, but the same ideas and the same filtration systems for the smells, etc. We must have been within the building for towards 2 hours, looking, listening, smelling, and we couldn't. The noise was minimal. The smell was, you couldn't have said that you were in a waste transfer movement stage, and it was taking waste from all over Hull and beyond, and it was a very, very busy site. It was surrounded by houses. People were walking past the gates, children, prams, etc. It was a very, very busy area, and if this, which I'm expecting, is going to be anything like the one in Hull, but smaller, but with the same filtration systems, etc., then I think it's what we need in Rossendale. Henrietta Street is now no longer fit for purpose. It is not a fit place even for our staff to be working. It is not a fit place for the people who live surrounding it, where the rubbish is blowing into people's gardens, into the river. It is not a fit place to be, and we need to bring our collections. We've got lots of targets to meet now with the new government regulations. We have got to do that in Rossendale. And I think it's very, very naive of people when they say we don't need one. I am not sure where they feel that the rubbish, collectibles, recyclables are going to go. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Driver. Does any other members wish to speak? Councillor, yeah, please spoke. Councillor Lithgow? Yeah.
Point of order, Madam Mayor. We have got barracking now from the back.
Can we all just calm down and allow members to speak? And Councillor Lithgow, yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. An interesting discussion there. Some sort of points, some strange, some hard to believe, really. With Jimmy's points, I mean, the nursery haven't any objections to this plan at all. And basically, the idea about bin wagons driving around the valley, they're driving around the valley regardless of where the waste transfer station is. So that point, I think, is irrelevant in this case. The Tories point, I can see from political perspective, it might suit them to oppose this, but the cost, Andrew's already spoken about the cost there and how we can justify that. It's going to sort of save us money in the long term by a very long way. I think with Mackenzie's points, I'm a bit confused really. We seem to be victimised by Lancashire County Council, but I'm not sure if he's speaking as a member of the Cabinet or how he can speak on behalf of the Cabinet. He can perhaps explain to us how he speaks on behalf of the Cabinet.
Yeah. I'm not speaking on behalf of the Cabinet. You received and seen the same letter, and we've sat in the same meeting and discussed this. You know exactly which angle I'm coming from. We've had them discussions. Thank you.
I'll come back to the letter. Yes, we had a letter from one of the Cabinet members which seemed to contradict what was in the agreement at the Cabinet meeting when they discussed this. In the Cabinet meeting, they said that they would support local authorities in coming in adopting their own personal waste transfer. And use that. Then we have one member who only to us tells us they're not going to be supporting us. You can read into that what you want, but the Cabinet policy officially from Lancashire County Council is that they will support local authorities in coming to their own solution. And I don't know that he talks about we're going to find this site. The site, as Alison has said, has not been found. The other questions, has a budget been approved?
Sorry, Mayor, point of clarification. I'm not going to keep going on it. You didn't want to continue after that meeting. You refused for us to do it. So don't stand there and say, oh, you know, you've not found the site. You said no.
Councillor Ritson.
You said no.
Councillor Ritson, please, can you...
I think we're getting a little bit confused here. We're talking about this super site that all local authorities in the east of Lancashire are going to take their rubbish to. And I'm not aware that any such site has been found or they're anywhere near finding that sort of site. Has a budget been approved for that? Councillor Mackenzie could perhaps ask that. Has a revenue budget been approved? Capital or revenue budget for that? Why have Burnley not been told that they must do this as well? They seem to be carrying on with theirs. How long will the consultation and planning take? I understand also that a structural change order in relation to LGR comes into effect from autumn-winter 2026, when presumably spending will be restricted. On our experience, I very much doubt that all this is going to be in place by autumn-winter 2026, which will leave us in the position of carrying on using Henrietta Street when we have the opportunity to build a purpose-built building on Futures Park, which will meet the needs for the future. It'll be a secure site. It won't mean us wasting money transferring waste across Lancashire unnecessarily, or buying the vehicles that will do that transport for. We'll be spending loads and loads of money on something we don't need to spend that money on. It's a complete and absolute waste of local council tax money, payers' money. I can't see any reason why anybody would want to object to this, either sort of financial or practical grounds. It's very easy to laugh, but we have to find a solution for the waste. And this is on a site which the council owns. It's going to have minimum impact on any of the public at all. The vehicles will come and go as normal, and it'll be inside a very secure building. As has been pointed out, there'll be no smell. Everything has been catered for in terms of security. It's a strong proposal, and I really don't understand why anybody can possibly object. It's a sensible thing to do, and it's the best way forward for property for the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Lisco. Are there any other members wishing to speak? Okay, shall we move to the vote then? We're having a named vote yet.
Okay, so Councillor Adshead. 4. Councillor Alison Barnes.
4.
Councillor Samara Barnes.
4.
Councillor Bold.
4.
Councillor Cheetham.
Against.
Councillor Driver.
4.
Councillor Eaton. Councillor Gill.
4.
Councillor Hancock. Councillor Harrison.
4.
Councillor Hodgkiss.
Against.
Councillor Kenyon. Councillor Lithgow. Councillor McMahon. Councillor Neil.
4.
Thank you. Your mic's flashing. Councillor Norton.
4.
Councillor Payne.
4.
Councillor Proctor. Councillor Ritson.
Against.
Councillor Michelle Smith.
4.
Councillor Walmsley.
4.
Councillor Woods.
4. Sorry. Against.
First answer only.
Against.
That's carried if my calculations are correct. So that application is there.
Right, that's clearly carried. Item C2 is public meeting schedule. Do I have a move of that report?
I'll move it, Madam Mayor.
A seconder?
I'll second that, Madam Mayor.
We'll just pause a minute while members of the public exit the building.
Well done. Well done. Well done. Just remember there's a big fire there. It's all about the fire. Just look on the internet, search up waste transfer station fire.
Yes, please leave the building. Stay. Okay, has everybody left who wishes to leave? And carry on then. So we were at public meeting schedule. We had a mover. Did we have a second? Sorry.
I can't remember, but I'll second that, Madam Mayor.
Does anyone wish to speak? Councillor Neil.
Yeah, on the device and microphones. Yeah, I made this complaint every single year. We set the dates at the annual general meeting. In democratic services, so it's a play once again. Can we try and stick to the dates that we set? Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Neil. I can remember you bringing this up every year. So, does anyone else wish to speak? Councillor Eaton.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. A point of personal explanation. At the last planning meeting, I voted against this waste transfer station. And what I'd like to say this evening is that I believe I've got fact, but I won't name who, that at the next planning meeting or the one after that, I'm going to be taken off the planning committee.
The reason, what's that to do with the public meeting schedule?
I'm just bringing this up so I can get it in, please.
Yeah. I think you need to bring that up in a separate meeting. We're now looking at the public meeting schedule.
Well, all I can say is that I'm resigning from the Labour group from this evening and I will be going independent.
Councillor Eaton, can you please sit down? So if nobody else wishes to speak on the public meeting schedule, can we please move to the vote? Those in favour? Any against? Any abstentions? That's clearly carried, thank you. Item C3, there are no urgent decisions, to report. Item D is a notice of motion from Councillor Samara Barnes and Councillor Alan Neil. Could I ask Councillor Barnes to move the motion?
Thank you. I'd like to move the motion, and if seconded, I'll speak to the motion as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Neil?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. I will second the notice of motion and reserve my right to speak. Thank you.
Councillor Barnes, do you wish to speak?
I have got a friendly amendment. Do you want that to come in now? Or it's fine.
That's fine. If that's what you want to put forward, that's fine.
So the amendment is added to below the body of the text. It's an extra bullet point. It's always ensure both members and officers respect the public and uphold the Nolan principles, especially openness, accountability and honesty at all times in their interaction with residents. Thank you. I'll propose that.
Is that amendment seconded?
I'll second that, Madam Mayor.
Okay. So that becomes the... Right.
So effectively, if we discuss that addition, if everyone's happy, then we'll just vote.
Right.
If everyone's in favour, then that will become a substantive motion.
Right.
If that fails, we'll go back to the original motion.
Right. Okay, so yeah, so it's been moved and seconded. Does anybody wish to speak to the amendment?
I think we would support that, Madam Mayor, but the tenor of this motion is around respect in this chamber, and I don't see an awful lot of it from Councillor Ritson, if I'm honest.
Councillor Neil.
Yes, Madam Mayor. The second.
Can we just have one meeting? Can members of the public be quiet?
Thank you. Yes, Madam Mayor.
Me and Samara have communicated just slight change to the amendment where it mentions the Nolan principles existingly within the body of the text, where it says elected members, just to add officers in there, and it will cover the point exactly as it would be written on the bottom anyway.
So it's just adding one word.
Yeah.
I will speak, Madam Mayor. Just to say that the Nolan 7 principles of standards in public life have been around 30 years. And last year this council members of this council that were present signed up to the civilian respect policy. So as I say, I'm not quite sure why we've had this sudden, whether it's just to include officers. Thank you.
Point of clarification, Madam Mayor. I understood we were inserting the word officers as the amendment.
Right, so the amendment has become the substantive motion. Are there any further amendments? Okay, that has now become the substantive moment because I asked councillors to confirm whether they are. No, we've done that bit. Yeah, right, we've done that, haven't we? Sorry. Right, so now we can. Carry on. It's very complicated, isn't it? So, Tamara, you wish to present the motion? Thank you.
Thank you very much. And again, I apologise for sounding like Marge Simpson this evening. I'm not poorly, I've just lost my voice. Can you hear me? Yeah. I'm bringing this motion forward because the tone of public debate has shifted and not for the better. We should be constructive in our disagreement, but all too often it's becoming more toxic, especially online, where hostility is amplified and misinformation spreads faster than truth. And I have to say, it's not gone unnoticed to me that tonight is the first time in 4.5 years that I felt uncomfortable to have my daughter here in the chamber and just had to be taken into the mayor's parlour. This should be a place that everybody feels safe. Now, free speech, which is vital to democracy, is sometimes misused as an excuse to say whatever people want, regardless of the harm that it causes. Councillors are being blamed for problems beyond their control, not just members in this chamber too. And more worrying still is the rising threats and intimidation against those who step up to serve. I know this firsthand. I've recently had to have a police marker put on my house as a result of this. Now, I spent a lot of time supporting, encouraging and training others, predominantly women, who are interested in politics at both the national and local level. And I know my colleague Liz McInnes, who's not here, is doing this as well with a Mighty Labour Women's Network. We tell them to be resilient. We tell them to grow a thicker skin. We talk about support networks, about personal safety, about how to report harassment. But let's be honest, what other role do you have to prepare people for in this kind of treatment before they even begin? And now, as we head into local government reorganisation, Rosendale needs the very best people to represent us when we move to a unitary authority. But who is going to want to step forward if this toxicity and hostile discourse continues? We do this work because we care. We care about our communities, about the people we represent, about making ours and their lives better. That's why it matters that we hold ourselves to the Nolan principles: selflessness, integrity, accountability, openness, honesty, and leadership. We will always have different political opinions, and that is healthy. But disagreement should never mean disrespect. What matters most are the people that we serve, not fights that we have with one another. We can disagree agreeably. Not everything has to be a fight. So let's show our communities that politics doesn't have to be toxic. It can be respectful, it can be constructive, and above all, it has to be about the people. So I'd urge everyone to vote on this motion, but most importantly, take the spirit of the campaign forward after this meeting, and please encourage others to do so too. Thank you. Sorry about my voice.
Councillor Barnes. Thank you, Councillor Barnes. Councillor Neal.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. We've seen what hatred can do in Australia this weekend, where a number of people have sadly lost their lives through hatred, division. We've got a situation across the world where you've got people like, and I will name them, Donald Trump, JD Vance. You've got Mr. Putin, who doesn't value human life. You've got Mr. Netanyahu, not the people, not the Israeli people. Mr. Netanyahu. On the other side, of the equation, where it's having a detrimental impact upon so many young people's mental health and welfare. They see comments on social media, and I'm pleased to note that the Australian government are actually the first to look to ban social media for all people under the age of 16. The genie is out of the bottle. But when you hear about some of the inappropriate comments, particularly by a former footballer who's been recently charged in court for his inappropriate comments against females and other members of public, you do begin to wonder, where is this heading? You know, we all have a different point of view. I don't always agree with everybody. That's the nature of the beast. But I do expect that people like the person that ran the Brexit Party, for example, who is quite happy to go over to America and then decry and run down the people of this country. I really do think that people need to think about where we're going with this. Because at the end of the day, young people have very long memories, and certain individuals in 5, 10 or 15 years' time, you know, once people put their crosses against bits of paper, will remember some of the inappropriate comments that are made. It's all well and good to have discussion and debate, but hatred should never be part of that. So what I would say to people who put inappropriate comments on social media, thankfully, which I don't do, really do need to think, because this is impacting upon people's mental health and welfare, which is something that we all need to think about. And we're not there because it's, you know, a personal trip for individuals. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Neil. Does any other members wish to speak? Councillor Ritson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yes, thank you for accepting the amendment. I just want to start by saying I definitely fully support the motion. It addresses an issue that is real and is damaging to a democratic process. When I've been in this chamber, I've personally experienced remarks whispered under breath, told to be quiet, and sometimes people forget to turn the mics off through insult or to shut down to debate. These actions do not foster healthy discussion, they undermine it. We are here to represent our communities, and that must create an environment where every voice can be heard respectfully. This is why I believe the Council will greatly benefit from a strong reminder of the Nolan Principles, especially on openness, accountability and honesty. These principles are not just words on paper, they're the foundation for public trust and good governance. Let us hope, going forward, that this Council will uphold these principles, not just in our dealings within each other, but every interaction with the public we serve. By doing so, we set the standard for respectful debate and transparent decision making. I urge all members to support this motion and commit to making the Council chamber a place of integrity, openness and respect. And I'd like to remind them, a point of order is not an insult. Thank you.
Councillor Woods, did you have your hand up? Yeah.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. There's nothing in this motion to disagree with, and I'm sure we'll all support it, but I would like to make some comments and observations. From a personal perspective, since I've been a councillor, I've only suffered a couple of incidents of verbal abuse from members of the public, which I accepted as having roots in differences of opinion. However, my colleague, Councillor Hodgkiss, has been threatened and intimidated in the course of her casework on a couple of occasions by the same person. And despite following recommendations, got absolutely no support from the police and not the level of support she should have expected from this council. I would like to get some understanding from us all that use of the Nolan Principles for submitting standards complaints should not be used just because opinions are made and which we may disagree with. which does happen. They certainly shouldn't be used to stifle debate. And latterly, the technique of throwing a lot of mud in the form of words dressed up as facts and hoping some of it sticks has recently been seen, not least at last week's development control meeting, which is the first time I've evidenced it, but heard it's happened elsewhere. I hope that sort of thing is not for the future. And finally, I have to say that some of the things I hear in the period before online briefings start between councillors and officers are often not pleasant, and often, talking about people who aren't there that night quite openly and quite in an unpleasant manner. I'd like to see that stop. I consider it to be very underhand. We support the motion, looking forward to seeing its principles being practiced by everybody. Thank you.
Yeah, Councillor Woods. Any other members wish to speak? Councillor Barnes.
Thanks, Madam Mayor, and thank you, Samara and Alan, for bringing what I think is a really important motion to the council. I think the basic principle is respect, isn't it? And I'm just always struck by the fact that, we're 30 different people who've all been elected by our communities to represent those communities. And that fact needs to be respected by each and every one of us. We've all got different opinions. Even some people within the Labour group or within the Labour group might have different opinions, but we do need to respect people for the fact that they've been elected to represent their communities. Like Alan, I'm struck by this opinion not being bandied around like truth. Because somebody thinks it doesn't mean to say it's true. And I think over the last few council meetings, I've noticed more and more of that coming in. It's just, I think it, so therefore it must be true. And I think we've all got to really safeguard against that. I have myself suffered at the hands of the keyboard warriors over many years, really. I have got broad shoulders and I tend to ignore it most of the time. But I have recently asked for my address to be taken off the council website. On the 5th of November, an effigy of me was burnt on a bonfire. And I just think it wouldn't be a big step for somebody to come to my back door. I think my Labrador might have something to say about it if they did, but the threat's there, isn't it? The worry is there. So I too have experienced that, and over many years as the leader of this council. I think the other point that I'd really like to make is around officers of the council really are here to give impartial advice to all members of this council. That's their job. And when members actually choose to ignore that advice or don't even ask for that advice in the first place and then plant their opinions all over social media, I think then we're on a hiding to nothing. It's a difficult one, social
Point
media.
of personal explanation, please. That was regarding...
Councillor Ritson, can Councillor Barnes continue?
Can I clarify my position as it was aimed at me? Whenever, not right now,
I didn't
whenever.
mention you by name, so...
I didn't mention count. Okay, do I need to sit down? Yeah. Okay. The point I am trying to make is that people have got to be really careful and seek advice from our impartial officers who are well qualified, very experienced people that can really help. What we don't need is for those officers actually to be criticised on social media, and this constant suggestion of wrongdoing that's really in every meeting now. We're doing the wrong thing as members, and people can have an opinion about that, but also our officers are doing the wrong thing. And I think what we've got to do is put some trust in our team and listen to what they've got to say. They're here for a reason. And I would also caution against, everything on social media. Some of the stuff that we're involved with here is complex, and to try and air it and constantly to-ing and fro-ing on a complex level, it's very difficult. So I just think that there's possibly less of a place for that than we're currently seeing. Thank you for that, Madam Mayor.
Thank you.
Councillor Whitson, you've already spoken, I'm afraid, so that means that your time's up on that one. But in terms
Sorry,
of
could you answer a question for me while you're going to say this?
Can I
Sorry.
just tell you what a personal explanation is? You may not have it in front of you. I have prepared recently, well, probably quite a while ago now, actually, what is a personal explanation. A personal explanation must relate to some material part of an earlier speech, which appears to have been misunderstood during the present debate, and the Mayor's ruling on admissibility is final.
One final question. Sorry,
Go on,
Madam Mayor. I did ask officers earlier for information. The officer come back and said, further to our discussions, I have been advised that the information you requested must be provided by the portfolio holder. When we're presenting this report, more detailed info and any further information requested will be circulated. Apologies, I can't be of assistance. What's the point?
It's about personal explanation in this debate. Thank you.
Madam Mayor, point of order, please. I'm not sure what this is to do with the debate that we're having on this notice of motion. Can I remind members that we need to stick to what we have in front of us, which is this notice of motion? And if members have spoke, they shouldn't be speaking again. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Councillor Neil. Does any other members wish to speak? No? Shall we move to the vote then? So can I ask all those in favour of the motion? Anyone against? Any abstentions? That's clearly carried then, thank you. That concludes the business of the council this evening. Can I thank all members for their participation in the meeting. And before I close the meeting, I'd just like to wish everybody a happy Christmas. And hopefully we can have a much more peaceful New Year. So I hope you all enjoy time with your families, and we'll come back refreshed in the new year. And I'd now like to declare the meeting closed. Thank you.
Councillors, officers.